Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp as we once again have a look at some of the games coming out for the Switch in this upcoming week. In terms of dates, we'll be going from the 11th of January up until the 17th to see if there's anything releasing worth your time and money. So which games are coming out for the Switch this week? Well, let's find out.
This episode's sponsored by Boti Byteland Overclocked, which really reminds me of Astrobot on the PlayStation 5. It's a third-person platform game that also features co-op.
Yep, as Mark said, it combines classic 3D platforming with a splash of innovation, with you double jumping, dashing, hovering and gliding through a number of different levels as you attempt to rid Byteland of a number of bugs, viruses and glitches.
And it also does have local co-op play for 1 or 2 players, online play for 1 or 2, or you can actually hook up 2 Switches as well.
This version includes all 4 DLCs that were available for the game previously, being Dino vs Robot battles, expansive winter and Halloween add-on maps, plus hovercraft races.
It has been out previously, and it was quite well received actually. All the prices are on the bottom of the screen right now. Once again, a big thank you to Untold Tales who have sponsored this episode.
First one releasing this week then is Gunfire AI Rebellion. The blurb states that the futuristic human city has been plunged into crisis by an invasion of AI robots. You'll need to use a variety of weapons to blast your enemies in spectacular fashion, it goes on to say, across a number of dynamic battlefields. The weapons you use will gain experience the more you use them, and their performance will thus improve. There is an auto-fire assist, however this does reduce DPS compared to firing manually. The AI of the enemies will evolve as you fight against them, learning and adapting, again according to the blurb, and you can craft your own firearms from the loot that you acquire. It looks as if it uses a low poly art style. It's only single player, which is disappointing, but it's out on the 11th for £14.99 if you are interested. Next is a big one, it's Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Donkey Kong Country Returns first released in 2010 for the Wii and did also receive a port to the 3DS, I seem to remember. And it was the first Donkey Kong Country game since the third game in the series on the Super Nintendo back in 1996. I remember borrowing that from a mate at school who'd got it for Christmas. This was a fantastic game. I really enjoyed this back in the day. I was so keen to get another Donkey Kong Country game after many years of waiting. The only thing that really disappointed me about this one was the fact that there were no Kremlins and King K. Rool wasn't in it. They went with a different set of enemies, but it was still a great game. And its sequel, which is already on the Switch, Tropical Freeze, is also very good. It'll be interesting to see exactly what this brings to the party, whether there are any new features other than obviously being now in high definition. It's out on the 16th and it will sell for full Nintendo price, £49.99, or your regional equivalent.
There are plenty of transportation methods available. Pass a joycon controller to a buddy for 2-player local co-op. 80 appealing levels are in store.
Next is Blade Chimera, which describes itself as an occult-inspired cyberpunk Metroidvania. You play as Shin, a demon hunter with no memory of his past, who teams up with a demon called Lux, who is able to shapeshift into a sword and manipulate time. Lux will offer you a wide array of utilities. She can perform powerful attacks and shield you from harm, and as Shin defeats demons and levels up, new skills can be unlocked via a skill tree. There are other weapons available as well as using Lux, including great swords and whips, and you'll be exploring a map in classic Metroidvania fashion. Has quite an interesting pixel art style, certainly looks nice and vibrant I must say. It's out on the 16th for £17.59, albeit you can get 10% off of that price up until the 15th. We then have the DreadOut Remastered collection. Now DreadOut is a survival horror game, third person survival horror game. I haven't played it, but I have played its sequel, which is on the Switch already. According to the blurb, this brings together the original DreadOut and DreadOut Keepers of the Dark. You play as a school student named Linda who is trapped in an abandoned town. You'll be using your smartphone and a camera to battle against terrifying enemies and solve puzzles. Keepers of the Dark is a standalone horror game that takes place in the DreadOut universe. It's classed as a missing chapter from that first game where you help Linda face the challenges of the DreadOut world as she's transported into the Mirror Realm. I quite enjoyed the second game. It's certainly rough around the edges, don't get me wrong, and if the first one is anything like that, it's a decent game, albeit this is going for quite an expensive price of £26.99, but this is definitely one that I will keep my eye on. Following on from that then, we've got Folk Hero, which is an action slasher with roguelike elements. It's set in a world of Slavic fantasy according to the blurb, and you'll be exploring an ever-changing island, finding treasures, combining weapons and artifacts to defeat mythical enemies. It says you'll be using a Souls-like style combat system against a number of unique enemies and bosses. Each enemy will require a different approach and you'll need to study their behaviour so you don't miss a single hit. It has procedural level generation, making each of your runs unique, and you'll explore a mysterious forest, swamp, wasteland and a castle along the way. Death is permanent, as is generally the case in roguelites, but it does say that you will unlock points that you can then use to upgrade your heroes next time. This one will sell for £10.79 or your regional equivalent. After that we have PicoMix by NuSan, which is a collection of 20 modern retro games, as they put it, from a variety of genres such as platform, puzzle, crafting or even base building. It says some will provide you with hours of challenge, whilst others can be completed in a few minutes. It lists some of the games in its description being Combo Pool, Flooded Caves, P-Craft Deluxe, Lost in Pico, De Facto, Cyclo 8, Damian Flow, Zebulon A Lost Cat, and Path of Aratron. It says all the games were made using the fantasy console Pico 8 with its 16 colour palette system, 128 by 128 resolution pixel art and 4 channel chiptune. This one is another one that releases on the 16th and it will sell for £13.99. The penultimate game for the week is StarLair, which describes itself as a never-ending adventure game where you'll take on an entire galaxy's worth of planets. You'll need to fly your ship through an infinite galaxy, finding new challenges along the way, and every planet in the galaxy was created by a player. When you land on a planet, the game turns into a side-scrolling adventure filled with puzzles, bosses and power-ups, and each world houses a secret relic which can be used to unravel the mystery surrounding the ever-expanding universe. It says you can either play or create, or both of course, building huge worlds, writing music, creating bosses and sharing them with the world. It actually sounds like a very interesting concept. I'm very intrigued to see exactly how it will play. Again, it's out on the 16th and it will sell for £16.99 or your regional equivalent. And finally for the week then we have Tales of Grace's F Remastered. This is a game I must admit I'd never really heard of. I've heard of the Tales series and assumed it was a part of that, which it is the 12th part I've just read, and it was initially released in 2009 on the Wii, albeit only in Japan. It's an action RPG about adventure in a fantasy world, and this game also includes Lineage and Legacies, an afterstory to the main scenario. It has what it calls the Style Shift linear motion battle system, allowing players to switch between two different battle styles, Arts and Burst if I'm saying that right, and you can choose the strength and range of your party's attacks, the size of the attack and how close or far away you need to be to the enemy for maximum effectiveness. It says there have been some quality of life features included in this remaster as well as improved graphics, with the quality of life features including autosave, various skip functions and the ability to turn off enemy encounters in fields and dungeons. That sounds good to me. This one releases on the 17th and it will sell for £34.99 or your regional equivalent, and there are some other versions, deluxe editions and whatnot that go for a bit more. Check out the eShop for full details. So there you have it, there's another week of Nintendo Switch releases. Do any of those games interest you? Will you be picking any of them up? Please do let us know in the comment section below. If you're after something else to watch, my latest episode on my other channel, GB Bricks, is just to come out. In this one I look at some of my most anticipated LEGO sets releasing this month and explain the reasons why I'll be picking them up at some point, what it is about them that intrigues me. Yeah, I'll put a card in the top right hand corner, please do give it a watch if it sounds at all interesting to you. Don't forget, if you're looking for eShop credit to pick any of the games up in this video, you can use our website switchup.gg, and doing so will get you 5% of your purchase price back as cashback, and there are other links down there to places such as PlayAsia, Nixie for example. Using the links and codes will save you 5% off of your order. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.